Welcome back, guys. Nick Trigili here, IFBB Pro. Wow, wow, wow. Arnold Classic 2019 Open Class just got finished. Crowned our champion, Brandon Currie, his three-time champion Arnold Classic. Congratulations to him. Unbelievable package tonight. He brought it. Prejudging, night show, posing. Let's talk about his body, his detail, his separation, his fullness. It was a Brandon Currie that we never saw before. Brought up all his weak points. His legs have been brought up tremendous. They literally are, if not almost, better than his upper body now. His backside is one that no one on the stage could match. Literally the smallest waist on stage. His illusion is unbelievable. Hats off to Brandon Currie for this show. Second place was William Bonac. Now, listen, I'm not knocking William Bonac at all, but Brandon Currie was just unbeatable tonight. Even if I think if William was 100%, and I think William was 95, I do. And even if he was 100%, I don't think he could have beat Brandon tonight. The waist on Brandon is like a wasp. And I feel when the waist was that small, it's literally unbeatable, especially when you have the arms and the legs on Brandon, the back and the chest and the delts. He has no weak points right now, Brandon. If he continues to improve, man, I don't know. I smell maybe a Olympia winning in a couple of years for Brandon. Who's going to stop him? If Phil drops off, Now, William, complete package also, head to toe. They're apples and oranges of physique, so you really had to go with whatever one you liked that tonight. But I think Brandon was just an undeniable. Your eyes just kept going back to him. As much as you would try to look at William, as much as you wanted to look at Luke and Cedric and Steve Kuklo and Roelly, he just stood out. He was the front runner from the beginning of the show. He was number one in the show, came out first, and he took the show by storm. I'm sorry. Luke Sandoe, well, I can't say anything but better, but an amazing, impressive performance considering how he finished off last year's competition career. Came out sharp as anybody on that stage. I think he was just as conditioned, if not better than Brandon. Front to back, and he only got better as he posed. He was not getting worse. He was not getting softer, which was a really good sign to show that you're in shape. He maintained his conditioning throughout prejudging and the night show. He just kept getting better and better. I think Luke's physique looked phenomenal. His biggest downside was his legs. Everyone ripped him on us for his legs. I think his quads look amazing now. His backside was chiseled. His back looks really, really good. You could tell how he trains hard and heavy. He has a very dense physique from head to toe. One of my most favorite physiques on that stage tonight, if not my favorite. Then you had fourth place, I'm sorry, Cedric McMillan. Now, Cedric is always on the radar coming into the Arnold Classic. For some reason, September, he doesn't turn it up. But for March, April, the beginning of the year, he's always on point. Now, don't get me wrong, Cedric was not 100% tonight. If Cedric was 100% tonight, it would have been a run for money between him and Brandon. Remember, Cedric is also a previous Arnold winner. Cedric's got the physique that could literally be Mr. Olympia anytime he wants, as soon as he flicks that switch on. I think if Cedric was even 5 to 10% better, it would have been between him and Brandon. His physique is just massive on stage. His body flows. His presentation's always very well. His muscle bellies are very full and round everywhere. Just has a very, very demanding physique on stage. Surprise, Roelly Winklaar is in fifth. He was my pick to win the show if he was on, like I said. I said if he was off, then he's going to drop down low, because when he's off, it's very, very, very hard to maintain those placings because he's such a massive bodybuilder. And when you hold a little bit of film, the waist gets blown out. You don't see the detail in his body that you need to see to really appreciate his physique. But I think Roelly's 2 weeks out right now. I think he really needs like another 2 weeks of hard dieting, and then he'd be literally ready to go. This was his show to lose, and he left the door open for anyone to crawl in and win. Unfortunately, this one's not going to be his show. Steve Kuklo rounds off the top six, who, again, is improving every year. I told you, ever since his new training method he brought along and got away from maybe that really heavy low rep stuff and started doing more volume, his physique is transforming. Every year his back comes up better. The detail in his body becomes even better. Legs were still lacking from the front, a little bit of detail. I don't know why he doesn't get that deep separation. I don't know if that's genetic, but his back has come up tremendously. I think Steve's physique is, I think, this is his peaked. I think this is the best he's ever looked. Not to say he can't get any better, which I think he will. This is the beginning of the year. Like, Steve always gets better and better as he competes. The biggest downfalls tonight was seeing Roelly take fifth. I think that hurt. And then seeing Victor Martinez not place at all, that hurt to see. They had Rafael Brandao in there for the mix for a little while. He's like a mini Steve Kuklo. I think he's probably going to take seventh. He doesn't have the size yet. That was unfortunate. He doesn't have the muscle on him yet. Once he does, he's going to be a dangerous threat to these guys all up the top six. Akeem Williams was letting me down a little bit. I didn't think Akeem was going to nail the first show, though. I said this earlier that he needs more shows under his belt to get better. And as the year goes on, he improves and his conditioning gets better. So I'm sure he's going to be doing the next couple shows, which will see him improve, I think that will see the best Akeem then. But the muscle's there for Akeem. Just come in shape, man, and the shows are yours. You're a mass monster. You got nothing to worry about. Don't look at the scale, and you will win. Let's touch base on Brandon for a second before we wrap this up. But if anyone remembers, Brandon turned pro back before I did. So I turned pro around 2013, 14. Brandon turned pro, I think, when I first started to get on the scene, which I was like 17, 18, which is probably around like 2007 or 6. He's been around for a minute. And Brandon's career was at its heightened in the beginning. He had big contracts with BSN, if I remember. He was like the poster boy to do very well. Then whatever happened, he has a big family. He's got a loving wife. He's got kids. I don't know if maybe just because he was sidetracked from that and he couldn't stay 100% focused on bodybuilding, that was why he was holding his career back. But now that he's been over with Abdullah, and shout out to him, he's done a freaking amazing job with Brandon. I talked to him today. It's been lights out for Brandon ever since. He's been improving every show since he's working Abdullah. And I think it's the combination of him being solitary. I know he's leaving his family for months at a time. But hey, guys, listen. This was any other sport, you would do it. I know everyone knocks it because it's just bodybuilding, but Brandon doesn't look at this as just bodybuilding. He looks at this as his life, his career, his passion. Yes, he's leaving his kids behind. Yes, he's leaving his wife behind, but he won. So it's worth it. If he didn't win, I'd say, leave my family for a couple of months, that's rough. And my kids, that's rough. Now, from wherever he goes from here, now he's got the most momentum at anybody in the lineup right now going into the Olympia. He won the Arnold Classic. That right there solidifies you a top 3 spot if you come in, if not the same, if not better, conditioning. Now, he will size up very, very well against Sean Roden and Bonac, as we can see tonight, and Dexter Jackson's and whoever else shows up in that lineup in the top 5. That's pretty big statement to say that he can match up against these guys, because the Mr. Olympia is right around the corner, guys, September. And he just beat William Bonac, who was top 2 in the world. What does that say about Brandon? That's got to be really exciting for him to think about. Now, listen, maybe he can come back here once he gets rolling. Maybe he realized he needs to be focused and maybe more solitary. Maybe he knows what to do now if he can come back to the United States and train. Now that he has all his momentum. So the door could be open now. He might have took 2 years of sacrifice, but maybe now he can come back here and train and be with his family. Maybe Abdullah can come here and train with him. Who knows? But just shows that you can put everything you can into your goals, guys. Put all you can into your dreams. They can come true if you really, really try. And that's a great story for him to see. And just one person I forgot about that I want to mention was Josh Lenardowitz, who is another poster boy who we thought was going to come in here and be the dark horse and win. Unfortunately, he did not show up in shape. I think he was way off, to be honest. I'm not going to be mean or nice or anything. I just think he was off. That's all I'm going to say. He did bring the size, but it doesn't mean anything when you're not in shape. But he has Australia next week, or I think the following week, where he's going to be doing that show, and I think that'll be his show to win. Tonight, we had big expectations for him. He hasn't competed in almost 2 years. His last showing was not the greatest, so we put a lot of pressure on him, and that eats you alive sometimes, guys, especially a stage like this. So shout out to Josh. I wish him the best. I think the rest of this year is going to be improving for him. He obviously has the size. We saw the biggest Josh we've ever seen ever. He was standing next to Roelly in one shot where I was like, wow, okay, he's almost as big, if not bigger than Roelly. So we'll see how he does. I'm excited to see how Roelly does next show. But again, let's congratulate our champion Brandon Currie and his trainer Abdul out of Kuwait. Oxygen Gym, you got an amazing job with him. That's wrap up tonight, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed all the coverage I brought to you up to the minute, live as best I can. Stay tuned for more of this, and thanks again for watching. This is Nick Trigili, and I'm signing out for Generation Iron.